I'm fortunate because in this day and age, you have technology that's just readily available. I started a year ago with a blog called the $1 Billion Girls Club, which essentially I just started myself on my Mac, writing through WordPress, expressing some of my thoughts around inspiration, things I just wanted to share that I would want to share with other women, little savings that I found or a quote that was inspirational, and really started building the community from there. And now we're about at 1,000 subscribers and really just active, people supporting each other, commenting on things, and I'm really excited about where it can go.
You talk about Gen Y. What is that?
Gen Y is the demographic that's loosely defined by ages 18 to 35. It's a term that was coined because of the Gen X, which is the baby boomers, the generation that followed that. But the thing that's most distinctive is not necessarily just the demographic aspect, the ages, but it's more what I call the psychographic. It's the group, it's the generation that really much grew up with the internet. And so many academics call it either Gen Y or the Net Gen, but essentially this is the group that was born where they could have anything at their fingertips. You get on a computer, and if you want a yellow umbrella, you can have it in less than a day, and with a point and click of the mouse. So it's grown with less limitations in terms of their imagination as to what's possible and what they can achieve in their lives. They also are inundated with information because they are very tech savvy, kind of always looking for anything. They're the most who are on the internet sort of buying and looking for advice, whereas I think in previous generations people more referred on sound experts, if you will, people who had written tons of books or who had appeared on TV. Now you really get the emergence of people who just resonate with the individual through blogs or other social media platforms.
And is this the entrepreneur generation? Have we moved away from young women aspiring to work for a large corporation in an office in a traditional sense?
I could talk for days about that, but I would generally say yes. I mean, I think for my mother's generation, the goal or the sort of the big prize was to be able to be a Fortune 500 CEO. And I think now, my generation, you can see that those people actually exist, whereas before, you may have gotten Fortune and you didn't have even the top 50 list now they have for women. It actually shows all of these women who are very successful. I think this generation is really looking at sort of the women on this list and asking critically, are these women happy? And even if they are happy, would their happiness equate to my happiness? So looking at holistic things like family, and in addition to career, and how they've been able to balance those. And I think we're demanding more, which unfortunately hasn't been able to cope with what's available in many times in a strict corporate structure.
So women are now demanding more, but on their own terms, is that right?
I mean, I think, yes, on their own terms, primarily because I believe they haven't been able to find it within corporate structures. I graduated in 2005 from Harvard Business School, and there were tons of women in my class, and there have been studies that show how many women actually go out and enter careers with big Fortune 500 companies, really looking, I think, earnestly to stay for the long term. Because of their interests, they're clearly talented and they're capable, but at some point find that the work demands don't necessarily cope with the flexibility that they need as they begin to negotiate, whether it be raising a family or just individual interests that they have that they can't pursue within the corporate confines.
And is there also this awareness of unconscious bias, as it's called, this perhaps socially conditioned expectation of what women can and cannot do in the workplace, do you think?
Well, you know, I think when it comes to unconscious bias or bias in general, I think now more than any other time, everyone's kind of more talking about that. It's more discussed. Whereas before, if you were to raise it, it may have been much more taboo to say X, Y, and Z happened because I'm a woman. You see more people kind of standing up against that. And I think for that reason, it's kind of good and bad, because now individuals aren't necessarily as keen to raise an issue because they don't want to be seen as a whistleblower in that sense.
You were the youngest VP at your company. Why did you give that up in order to start your own business?
I was very fortunate. I had a tremendous opportunity to work with a company that nurtured me, that gave me tremendous opportunity, hence being the youngest VP of that company. I just knew at one point, once I was VP, the next level would have been principal or potentially being a founding partner for that firm. And when I looked at that lifestyle and what I would be doing, I knew for myself I wanted to have impact in a different way. Not just financially, I wanted to do something that was rewarding financially and for society. And it was difficult for me to forge the right balance within the current company that I was in. So I began to explore ways that I could do that outside.
And how can you, finally, as a young woman entrepreneur, best pass on your expertise and help other women to do something similar?
That's something I think about a lot because I am very cognizant of the mentors that I've had who've helped me get to where I am now. And one of the things that inspires me so much about the business that I'm starting is that it is exactly that. It's as if you have a big sis, if you will, kind of whispering in your ears life's pearls in a way that you would actually listen, not in the way that you would kind of throw your hands up and say, let me live my life. And so that's one of the things that I find so empowering about the business that I am starting. But also making time to make personal connections and spending the time when you meet someone who is interested in the work that I'm doing to actually follow up.